Roscoe Riley rules. Never glue your friends to chairs. Chapter 9, Roscoe to the rescue. Right after recess, it was time to get ready for the open house. Miss Diz and the room mothers set out chocolate chip cookies and cakes and pies on a big table, and napkins and juice. Those cookies looked delicious. But I was too worried about the bee song to think about those delicious, chewy, chocolatey, melt-in-your-mouth cookies. Well, almost too worried. Miss Diz arranged the chairs, and then she set out the sticks and the head baubles on the counter. "Your parents will be here in just a few minutes, children," she said. "Check all the activity centers to be sure everything is nice and clean." "Miss Diz," called one of the room mothers, "do you have any name tags?" "I think I have some in the art cupboard," said Miss Diz. She opened the cupboard doors. "Nope, no name tags. Let me see if they have any in the office. Children, I'll be right back. Roscoe, why don't you pass out the antenna? Dwayne, you hand out the sticks, but no funny business. The rest of you finish cleaning up." Miss Diz rushed out the door. The art cupboard doors were still open. I could see the Don't You Dare glue I'd brought. And just then I had a super mega gonzo idea. I went over to the cupboard. All the kids were busy cleaning up blocks and puzzle pieces and crayons. The room mothers were not paying any attention to me either. They were just busy mopping up a juice spill. It was caused by a flying Lego. I picked up one of the head baubles on the counter. I reached for the Don't You Dare glue. I tried to read the label. It took a lot of work to read it. "Bonds instantly and permanently," it said. "Glues wood, metal, glass, and paper." The label did not mention head baubles. I opened the glue and I put a little bit on the headband, and I popped those baubles right on my head. I waited a few seconds, then I wiggled my head. The baubles stayed on, nice and tight, just like real bee baubles. Perfect. I put a few drops of glue on all the other baubles, and then I slipped the tube of glue into my pocket. One by one, I passed out baubles to all the kids. Hassan tried on his baubles. He didn't notice the little drops of Don't You Dare glue. "Hey," said Hassan. He shook his head. "Weird. My baubles are staying on." "So are mine," Maria said. Miss Diz must have fixed them. I handed baubles to Gus and Dwayne. They were playing swords again. "Gus," I said, "no swords. This open house has got to be perfect." "They're not swords. They're lightsabers." "Here," I said. I put the baubles on his head and gave the last pair to Dwayne, who put them on. "Hey," said Dwayne, "my baubles aren't bobbling." Mission accomplished, I thought. Roscoe to the rescue. Chapter 10, Behaving. Miss Diz came back with the name tags. She was not happy to see Gus and Dwayne playing swords again. "Drummers, settle down," she said firmly. "My baubles are staying on, Miss Diz," Maria reported. "And so are mine," said Coco. Miss Diz looked surprised. She said. "That's good news." Just then Coco's mom and dad arrived. "Smile, everyone," said her mom. "We're recording." Coco's dad was holding a silver camcorder. All the other moms and dads began to come in. They smiled and talked and waved and shook hands. While Miss Diz was busy saying hello, Gus pointed his stick at Dwayne. "I am Zorro," he yelled. "I am Darth Vader," cried Dwayne. "Duel to the death," Gus shouted. They were going to have a hard time sitting still for the beef song, I thought. And then I had another super mega gonzo idea. Sometimes my brain amazes me. I went over to the drummer chairs. I looked around. Nobody was watching me. And Mom and Dad weren't there yet. I pulled out that Don't You Dare glue, and I just put a few drops on the chair seat. I smiled a proud smile. The bee song would go perfectly. Miss Diz would keep her job. And all because of me. "Roscoe, hello, pumpkin," someone called. It was Mom. She was carrying her banana, avocado, raisin, cream pie. It's not really okay for moms to call you pumpkin in front of your classmates, but that's all right. Sometimes parents forget to follow the rules. My dad was right behind her. He was carrying Hazel. Hazel only goes to preschool half a day. Little kids have it so easy. "What's on Roscoe's head, Mommy?" Hazel asked. "These are my bee baubles," I said proudly. I wiggled my head, and they stayed put. I am a genius, I thought. Miss Diz clapped her hands and put a finger to her lips. "Parents, please find a seat. We have an exciting performance planned for you." All the moms and dads sat down. They had to squish into our tiny little bitty seats. They looked pretty silly. I was glad no one tried to sit in the chairs I'd glued. "Places, everyone," said Miss Diz. The bees lined up. The drummers sat down, right on the glue, all except Gus. "There's something on my chair," he complained. "Probably your own nose goo," said Coco. "Gus," said Miss Diz, "please sit down." Gus sighed. He sat down with a plop. "As you may know, we've been studying insects these past few weeks," Miss Diz said. Suddenly, Mr. Goose Garden appeared in the doorway. "Well, hello, parents," he said. "I'm just passing through. Didn't want to miss hearing my favorite beehive perform." Mr. Goose Garden looked at all of us. One eyebrow went up, just like my dad's. I wonder if there's a school where they learn that eyebrow move. Miss Diz made a noise with her throat. Her face was a little pink, or maybe green. I think that's called stage fright. "As I was saying," she said, "we've been learning about insects, especially bees, and now we have a song we'd like to perform for you." Hazel made a buzzing sound. All the parents laughed. Everyone thinks she's adorable. It's disgusting. "All right, children," said Miss Diz. She made her voice a whisper. "We are going to do this just right this time." She looked over the drummers. Even Gus was sitting perfectly still. Not that he had a choice. "1, 2, 3, said Miss Diz. We all sang loud and clear and pounded nice and steady. When we were done, the parents cheered and clapped. Someone even whistled. "Bravo!" a dad yelled. Coco's mom wiped tears from her eyes. "Can we have cookies now?" asked Hazel. Miss Diz looked very happy, and she wasn't pink or green anymore. Mr. Goose Garden grinned. "Children, I knew you'd come through. This was just perfect. I must say that I love the way you behaved." Everyone laughed at his bee joke, because you have to laugh when it's the principal. Mr. Goose Garden gave Miss Diz a thumbs up. That means good job. Also, you won't have to go to work in a boring hamster-free office. He gave us all a big wave, and then he left. I couldn't stop smiling. Everything had gone perfect, thanks to me, and a little bit of don't you dare glue. "All right, everybody," said Miss Diz. "Hand me your antenna and your sticks, and line up with your parents for dessert." All the kids clapped and cheered. Then everybody pulled off their head baubles. At least everybody tried to pull off their head baubles. "Ouch!" Emma cried. "The baubles won't come off," Dwayne shouted. "My hairs are pulling," Gus yelled. "My baubles are stuck," Coco screamed. Everybody looked at me. Their faces were kind of surprised, and then mad, and then really mad. It seemed like maybe a good time for me to go to the bathroom. But when I tried to get up, my chair came with me.